And of course, the latest trouble comes from the immense damage to the countryside and, of course, our water supplies.
And our health.
By fracking and health, of course. This is being picked up, but this article from Manchester Evening News, of course, starting to say, well, actually, the protests are ramping up.
Yeah, iGas are moving into Barton Moss. The delivery of fracking equipment moved in yesterday. Protesters already started camping out, and one of those is on the line now. We'll be talking to him in a sec. And a Twitter feed was put out yesterday for legal observers to attend the site to actually support the protesters. But as I say, the company iGas, which I think we've got a slide of here, and I'm sure Ian will tell us more about it in a sec. Can you bring that slide up on iGas?
Just that it's there.
Sorry.
It's on the centre screen.
iGas. And Ian, are you there?
Immense damage to the countryside and, of course, our water supply. Sorry about that. We just might have had a little bit of feedback there.
Where's Ian?
Ian, have we got you?
2 seconds.
Okay. 2 secs.
It's quite well. We're just waiting for Ian to come in. It is quite interesting that fracking seems to have temporarily disappeared from the mainstream press and media. So
there was nothing on the mainstream. I had to put fracking Barton Moss in, and this was there was a couple of stories, but only from local papers up there. There was nothing in the mainstream that I could find first thing this morning.
Yeah.
I can hear you now. I can hear you clearly.
Hi, Ian. So what's going on? We've just covered the Manchester Evening News story about the drills arriving in Barton Moss yesterday, and the fact that Twitter have put out, there was a Twitter feed put out for legal observers to go and attend the site to support the protesters. You're there. What's actually going on?
Okay, well, we've just finished a 2-hour walk down from the entrance to Barton Moss Road from the A57, and the police outnumbered the protectors probably by about 2 or even maybe 3 to 1. And the great tragedy is that there was probably only about 20 people from the area around the site here at Barton Moss. The rest of the people, which numbered probably about 60, 70, were people that have come in from all over the country. And the good news is that the front line, right up against the police, was mainly retirees, people in their late 60s and 70s, who had come in from Earlham and from Eccles to show their absolute disgust at the fact that this industry is kicking off in an area that once upon a time was considered to be an area of outstanding natural beauty. So I have to say that iGas are probably thinking that they've got an easy ride ahead of them if there's only going to be about 60, 70 people here, and if there's only going to be about a 2-hour delay in getting their convoy of trucks down Barton Moss Road.
Right. Ian, we're just looking at a video now of police. They've got a man dragged to the floor and they're dragging him, trying to get in. Was this a video footage from yesterday?
That's the video footage from yesterday, and in fact they arrested him again today in a display of outrageous over-the-top policing. I mean, it was a classic case of testosterone policing. They basically told him that his bail conditions didn't permit him to come up the road when, having read them, they clearly didn't restrict him from coming up Barton Moss Road. But they bundled him to the ground, applied the knuckles into the pressure points, all of which we got on video, and then manhandled him into the back of the van. Then there was a couple of other arrests, one of whom was quite a well-known local DJ, Dave Roughmouth Davis. And then they decided that rather than arrest the local people, the retirees that were in the front line, they contrived this operation to effectively manhandle them behind the police line, so that the police were coming up against, if you like, a more able-bodied direct opposition. So I think, this is day 2. There's a long way to go. It's going to be here for some sort of 2 to 3 months. But the absolute critical element is that the local people, the people in the northwest, have to respond. Otherwise, iGas and the UK government are going to take it that they have the social licence to proceed.
Right. So really, you need more people up there, Ian, don't you, to support this? I would say.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's the people here maintaining the sort of permanent presence, But what it really needs is people who live in the northwest to make their way to Barton Moss and show their support for the protectors, and to do as much as possible to delay, and also obviously to ensure that the information gets out in the wider media, so that people understand, what the concerns are here, and that they take a look for themselves. Because as I heard you say, the issue here is about protection of the water supply, and as I'm sure people have heard me say on the Fracking Nightmare show, if there was an agenda to poison the UK water supply, I actually can't come up with a quicker way of doing it.
Ian, thank you for that. We're watching this video while you're talking, and at the moment it's quite incredible because we've got several police officers kneeling on top of this man who's prostrate on the ground, face down. This, as you say, is particularly brutal. What do you think is going on in the minds of the police? Obviously, they've been given orders. We can assume that probably they've been told that they've got to toughen up on protesters. But do you think it's fair to label all the police as sort of brutal thugs? Or do you think that...
Absolutely not, Brian. In fact, I have to say that, relations with the police liaison officers have been very cordial. There's clearly a number of police officers on the front line that are more than capable of normal human conversation. But unfortunately, the sort of officers in charge get to the point where they decide to take those officers off the front line and bring in the officers that unfortunately seem to be barely able to communicate in more than a Neanderthal grunt.
Right. And you've mentioned that many of the protesters are retired people in their sort of 60s, 70s. Are there still good relations between the different types of protesters?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that is truly remarkable is, just like at Borkham, even though it's a small number at the moment, but the clear evidence of the cross-section from the community is undeniable. And I think that some of the more astute police officers have recognised this, and that's why they went to great lengths to try and ensure that they didn't commit a sort of PR own goal by arresting or knocking over some of these people. And in fact, one of the more elderly protesters, a lady clearly in her late 70s, who walked with a stick, I mean, she actually had her own personal police liaison officer who was guiding her to make sure that she didn't trip over in the potholes on the road. So, I mean, it is not true to say that all the police are coming here with the testosterone at a sort of an outrageously high level. But, some of them clearly are. Some of them are spoiling for a fight. I mean, more so than we saw at Borkham. And, they're just waiting for, the leash to be let off. And then we can see that, they're going to go for broke. That's why it's so critical to get more people down here and to get the media down here to let it be seen that, this is a very wide cross-section of the community, and the people that are here are very well informed. They've done their own research, and it's wonderful to listen to them talking about the threat that this industry will unleash on their community.
Okay, and Ian, if you had a single message about fracking to get out to people who are watching and listening with us today, what would it be?
Look, this is a time bomb. Everywhere on the planet that this abomination has been unleashed has resulted in the contamination of the water, of the soil, and of the atmosphere. And nowhere in the world has it ever been unleashed beneath such a densely populated community as the UK. I mean, to put that in perspective, population density in the UK is 20 times that of Colorado and 100 times that of southern Queensland. And people who watched episode 2 of Fracking Nightmare, if they haven't seen it, I would encourage them to watch it on YouTube, because on that I had a guest from southern Queensland, Brian Monk, who's been living above the gas fields of southern Queensland for the last 5 years. And the impact on his lifestyle and on his health, and particularly on the health of his grandchildren, literally broke him up. And he broke down during the course of the interview because of what it is that the family has to endure. So, the message is to the population of the UK, you have a government that is not looking after your best interests. They're working on behalf of the corporations. Unfortunately, the police are the hired thugs of those corporations. But just like the people prevented this country from going to war with Syria, the people of this country, if they mobilise, can actually prevent this industry from kicking off in the UK.
Ian, we've just seen the shot of the guy in the van when they bundle him into the van with the blood over his face. How is this guy? You said he turned up there today. How is he?
Well, he's got a few scars, but in the scheme of things, he was in good health. But of course, he's having to go through the whole routine yet again. And he came down here delivering a box of vegetables. And, so I'm not too sure what he was arrested for, assault with a vegetable, perhaps, I don't know.
Well, I know that we're just looking at the shout box here and they're just absolutely stunned about what's going on.
I've got some footage. I will edit that footage this evening. I will get it up on YouTube, and I will make sure that you guys have it for the show tomorrow morning.
Brilliant, Ian.
Okay.
Well, thanks so much, and well done. You haven't stopped driving around the country trying to wake people up, and now from Devon to Manchester, it's just huge what you're doing, Ian, and everyone really appreciates it. So thank you.
But this country needs people at Barton Moss.
Right.
There were 4. I've just been told there were 4 arrests. Okay, including one local lady from the estate closest to the well site here, and that will certainly be a PR problem for the police, because we know at Borkham the police made every possible effort to avoid arresting a local. And here on day 2, it seems that the Greater Manchester Police have succeeded in doing that.
Okay, Ian, well, any more we can do here for you, we're here, and we will keep mentioning it on the show that if anyone can get up to Barton Moss to support Ian and the other protesters against the fracking, protectors of the site, please get up there. Thank you so much, Ian.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lou. Thanks, Brian.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
In the Manchester, up the north of England, if you can get to Barton Moss to support Ian Crane, I know the guys up there would really appreciate it, to try and stop all these bits of equipment coming in from iGas and fracking. Yes, Mike?
Yes, I just want to thank one of our chat box, one of our members actually, who during the Fracking Nightmare programme on Monday night offered about a ton of logs for them to use for their fires, and Ian has now arranged for collection of that. So that is really much appreciated.
That's really kind. Thank you so much. And we'll be back tomorrow, as always, 1 o'clock.
Thank you. Bye-bye.